Today I'm behind it with a brand new 2021 Lexus LS500. Now the LS500 is the flagship luxury sedan from Lexus, and this year it gets a slight refresh. The biggest complaint about the LS500, the infotainment system, has been addressed and updated, among other things. So how good is this flagship luxury sedan from Lexus? Let's find out. Now, before I go for a drive, first let me show you the outside and talk about all the features you'll find inside this ultra luxurious flagship sedan from Lexus. Now, starting with the outside, the LS500 to me has a really round, curvy, elegant, and luxurious look all together, all meshed together. And I'm a big fan of this LS500. It definitely has a presence due to how long it is and how wide it is. If you look at the front, the big spindle grille is still there. It's very hard to notice, but the shade of the spindle grille has changed slightly for 2021. The headlights have also been refreshed for 2021. It's hard to notice, but that swoosh, the LED swoosh, and the headlight itself is just shaped a little bit different. But you do see a lot of chrome around the spindle grille, around the bottom and the side, and mirrors and window surrounds. You see a lot of it, but somehow with this LS500, it just works. Moving to the side, you can see that the LS500 is very long and low to the ground, and the roof also is pretty low. You have that sleek, sporty look. This LS500 comes with 20-inch wheels, and they fill up the wheel wells very nicely. Now, the roof of the LS500 is actually in black, so it does add some contrast. Same thing with the mirrors, and of course, I mentioned about all the chrome around the LS500, which you see in the back too. You do see a chrome bar. You have very nice looking smoked LED tail lamps, and you have two chrome finishers on the bottom. Overall, I think this LS500 is a fantastic looking sedan from all angles, from all sides. Now, the trunk of this LS500 is power. Inside, you have a good amount of space. Unfortunately, though, there's not a whole lot of storage area. In fact, the rear seats do not fold down at all, so you are limited to what you could fit in here. Now, once you move in the second row, you'll be blown away with the inside of this LS500. Everything is super luxurious. Just take a look at the leather seats, the semi-aniline perforated white leather seats. Man, do they pop out. They have a good design and has good contrast with the black doors and a trim. Everything in the second row is super luxurious. Now, if you like being chauffeured around, then you'll love it in the back of this LS500, especially with the center console, which can pretty much control anything. Your audio system, your climate control. There's dual zone climate control in the back, also ventilated and heated seats, and massage function in the rear, and you can control various other things such as sunshades. There's one behind you, one on each side of you. You really can control pretty much anything in the second row, and that is fantastic, especially if you just like to be chauffeured around or you're busy with work. And the seats do recline very far back in case you want to take a nap. Now, the only problem with the second row is space. Being as big as this car is, the second row isn't that spacious. You could see with me behind the driver's seat, I'm 5'10", and I have probably only about 3 to 4 inches of legroom, which is okay, but only about 2 to 3 inches of headroom. With a car this massive, you would figure second row space would not be a problem. Unfortunately, it feels a little bit small, a little bit tight. Now, moving to the front is just as impressive, if not more so, than the rear. Of course, you still have the beautiful leather seats, also the beautiful leather door panels, and that unique looking spider web kind of trim piece that just looks right. And of course, you have a very elegant and bold screen in the middle, the dash design, the center console design. Everything is at your fingertips. There's nothing up here that looks like it doesn't belong. Everything is covered in soft, beautiful leather, nice stitching, nice aluminum trim everywhere, nice pieces. It's lovely up here. Now, the steering wheel is very nice. It feels good, has good grip, good thickness, and you can see the leather with the dark wood that's integrated within. And this dark wood theme you'll see everywhere throughout the cabin. Now, you do have nice paddle shifters in the back. They feel pretty solid, and a couple buttons on the right and left for your safety system, your adaptive cruise control, your volume, scrolling, and to control this digital screen in front of you. You do have one large digital screen, and this shows you all the usual stuff: digital speedometer and tachometer, and also you can scroll through various things like your compass, music, your safety system, your settings, and also things like TPMS and trip computer, the usual stuff. Now, if you wanted to change a mode, there's a stock on top. You could change between Sport, Sport Plus, Eco, and Normal. It just depends on your mood. Now, to the left of the steering wheel, you have 3 memory seats. You can power fold your mirrors, and also you have buttons for the heads-up display and your bird's eye 360 view camera system, which is really cool. Now, let's talk about the biggest change to this 2021 LS500, and that's, of course, this new touchscreen that's been integrated into the infotainment system. Now, everyone was complaining about this touchpad setup that is still here. You have a touchpad and also 3 buttons, but now everything can be controlled with your fingertips. Yes, it's touchscreen. It's close enough where you could pretty much touch everything, and you could look at various menu items, your navigation, audio, phone, apps. You do have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Amazon Alexa, and you can just control everything with your fingertips. It just works so much better. Although this interface is still a little bit cumbersome and the resolution isn't the greatest when you compare this to some of the other luxury cars, it still trails, it's still lacking, but it's a whole lot better than the infotainment system from 2020, and that's because it now has touch. Now, if you go into reverse, this is one of the flaws for this LS500 is this resolution. Yes, you do have a 360 view and a camera behind you, but it is kind of grainy. It doesn't really stand out, and that's one of the flaws for this LS500. Now, moving below, you have various buttons to control your climate control. You have a large knob for your volume, and you still have a CD player. Yes, you have a CD player. That is extremely rare inside a 2021 car. Now, you do have a new age kind of shifter. You just have to remember that you have to push left before you could go into reverse or drive. Otherwise, if you just push down, it does nothing, and there is a button for park. And you have some buttons under the trackpad, which could actually lift up your LS500 because this one is equipped with air suspension. Also, you have a button to control your sunshade in the back, and you have one for heated steering wheel, heated seats, and ventilated seats. And finally, you have a button for seat control, which you can adjust 23 ways. Yes, you could adjust these seats 23 ways, and you could turn on the massage function. On top, you also get a digital rearview mirror, which is pretty nifty, and you have 2 sunroofs on top, one above you and one behind the rear passengers. All right, I'm behind the wheel, so let's see how good this brand new LS500 is and see how it drives. The first thing I want to comment on is the interior size, which is very, very deceiving. As large as this LS500 is on the outside and the inside, it doesn't feel anywhere as big. It's a good thing because when you're on the inside, you don't feel like you're driving a boat. You don't feel like you're driving something enormous that you can't really get around. Lexus made it so that you have a very cozy cabin. You're sitting low and the center console is very big. So you feel very snug, and the door panel is a little bit higher. So yeah, you do get that snug feeling. And for some of you guys, I think you'll really enjoy it. It feels almost sporty in a way. But if you're expecting something with loads of space inside with plenty of headroom, which you actually don't get that much, especially in the rear. So if you're looking like for a ton of headroom, a ton of space overall, and if you're looking for the rear to have an enormous amount of leg space so you could just like lay down, you don't get a lot of that. In fact, the rear, I would argue, is actually quite disappointing in terms of space. Yes, it's very comfortable, very luxurious. That center console allows you to basically configure whatever you want, but it feels very cramped. Now, all Lexuses are quiet, but this LS500 is just ridiculous when it comes to cabin noise, which is virtually zero. There is no noise at all. For 2021, Lexus did say they retuned the active sound cancellation, which makes it even quieter in here. And honestly, it is too quiet, almost too quiet. This is not a EV car, but you really don't hear anything from the outside. No wind noise at all. The cars passing by right now, like almost nothing. Almost nothing. No road noise, no exhaust noise. You only hear the engine when you really floor it. I mean, it is ridiculously quiet inside, and that's really nice. Especially if you want to blast the music, which is off right now, but the Mark Levinson sound system in here is amazing. It's amazing. And combined with this quietness, wow. Now, what's also fantastic is the suspension setup. It is tuned really, really nice. Around town right now, it's soaking up every single bump. I really don't feel much. And keep in mind, this LS500 is equipped with 20-inch wheels, which means the sidewall is very, very, very small on those tires. But still, every bump, every imperfection, it's like I'm just floating over it, like I'm on a cloud. But what's interesting is Lexus tuned the steering to be heavier than I thought it would be. So it actually has a good feel. It doesn't have that really loose or sloppy feel that some Lexuses had before. This actually feels pretty tight. It has a good weight to it, and the steering wheel itself feels fantastic. The two combined really works. It feels like you're in control of the car, yet it could literally go over anything without feeling uncomfortable. So this is also fantastic. Now, something else that's new for 2021 is the transmission shift logic. This is a 10-speed automatic, but people complain that it didn't do so well before. At certain times, it just felt weird, it bogged down, hiccups here and there. Now, I've never driven a 2021 LS500, so I can't tell you how it compares. But right now, I can tell you this 10-speed is handling everything nice. You know, stop and go traffic, and just cruising around doesn't feel bogged down at all. Usually higher speed automatics, they feel slow, especially at low speeds. Right now, no. 0 to 60 now comes in at 5 seconds instead of 5.3. And also quarter mile drops to about 13.5 from 13.8. So the LS500 is actually quicker, much quicker for 2021 versus 2020 with the same powertrain. That's pretty good. All right. Let's test out acceleration. I'm in Sport Plus right now. Let's do this. Okay, I can definitely tell there's fake exhaust noise in the cabin because this LS500 is so quiet. There's no way you would hear any exhaust noise, and you do have some fake exhaust note in here, which to me still sounded fake. So I don't know if it's a good thing or not. There's slight lag as soon as you like floor it, and then it takes a little bit. Once the RPM gets past 2,000 RPM, then this Lexus really moves. But even then, it didn't feel that quick. 0 to 60 in 5 seconds. You know, I kind of expected more. It just felt like okay. Now, this engine is a twin turbo V6 producing 416 horsepower and over 440 pound-feet of torque, and full torque kicks in around 1600, which is why after 2000 you really start feeling it. Now, I kind of expected better, you know, but overall I think most people driving this will still feel very satisfied with the power and the overall drive. Now, I mentioned about the beautiful looking seats, and I will say that they're very comfortable as well. They aren't just for looks. They feel very comfortable. It's well bolstered in the back, so it's holding my back in. The bottom cushion is nice and wide and soft, and I feel very comfortable. And especially when you turn on the massage function, trust me, it's not fake massage. It actually does a really good job massaging you, although there's a time limit of 15 minutes. So that's a little short, but outside of that, it actually does really feel like you're sitting in a massage chair, and it does wonders. As for visibility, I talked about how you're sitting lower in the cabin, so it does hinder visibility slightly. The hood is quite high, and if you really sit high up like this, then you don't have a lot of headroom, so you're kind of forced to sit a little bit lower. So front visibility is okay. It could be better because of how high the roof is. Same thing, side visibility, because of the door panels, they're a little bit higher. So if there's like a little kid standing next to you, you may have a hard time seeing he or she. But the blind spot is good. Rear visibility is also so-so because of how raked the back window is. You know, the visible part isn't enormous. So I mean, overall visibility, I say just so-so. Now, of course, this is a sedan. You can't compare it to SUV. SUVs go have better visibility. You're sitting higher up, windows and everything is going to be bigger. But even compared to other sedans, I would say this is kind of like middle of the pack in terms of visibility. Now, the side mirrors to me feel a little bit small. On such a big car like this, you know, I figured the mirrors would be bigger. So they're a little bit small, but the good thing is you have blind spot monitoring both sides. So you get the entire active safety suite from Lexus. So emergency braking, adaptive cruise control, warning, lane assist, blind spot monitor, rear braking, rear traffic alert, everything that you could think of, you get inside this LS500, which is good. So you could also equip the LS500 with all-wheel drive, which this one has. So you could drive this literally anywhere, in the snow, in the rain, and you're gonna be plenty safe. Just sitting here reflecting, I mean, this cabin, the fit and finish, the quality, the design is fantastic. It has a modern feel, everything feels good, looks good. The only complaint, the only nitpick I have with this dash design is the buttons. There's just too many buttons everywhere. You kind of have to get used to which one does what, and you know what, I think if Lexus went more of the minimalistic kind of design, I think it would act and look even better. As for the brakes, feels pretty good too. It has that good linear feel. The pedal feels just right. It's not mushy, it's not stiff. The LS500 comes to a stop pretty good. There's no nosedive. So next up, let me talk about the different trim levels and pricing and give you the final breakdown on the good and bad to this brand new LS500. As for the 2021 Lexus LS500, you have 3 trim levels, all with rear-wheel drive and all-wheel drive as options. The base LS500 with rear-wheel drive starts around $76,000, with the all-wheel drive being slightly under $80,000. The F-Sport with unique styling, seats, and instrumentation tops out around $83,000, and finally the LS500H, the hybrid, tops out around $94,000. To conclude, the 2021 Lexus LS500 is an edgy, curvy, and elegant luxury sedan from Lexus. The outside is fantastic, and the interior cabin definitely looks and feels like belongs in a car of this class. The rear seat controls are fantastic, and the features you'll find overall inside is pretty darn good. Fit and finish and quality is second to none, and the LS500 has a strong engine, great transmission, and overall provides an extremely quiet and comfortable ride. The bad to the LS500 includes the space, especially in the second row, which should be much bigger. For example, the less expensive and the smaller Lexus ES has almost the same interior space as this bigger LS. The infotainment system, even with the new touchscreen, still trails the competition. And lastly, the low resolution rear camera needs an upgrade. Overall, I'm giving this brand new 2021 Lexus LS500 a score of 108. To see where it ranks, check out driversonlyrankings.com. Thanks for watching, hit the like and subscribe to the channel. Also, check out these 2 other videos.